How do you assess the balance of short-term risks and the medium-term risks, domestic as well as international?
This is an election year. If there are going to be a change in the course of policies that we have so far implemented, that could be a risk. But then we should be ready to come up with relevant policy. For example, now central bank has much more autonomous in policy making. I think we should be able to form our policies independently to a situation if there are risks. For us, the risks are basically if there are inflation risks. Short term that is coming from what we see, the higher taxes, short term. So we have already factored those things in. But going forward on the external side, if you look back last year, no one expected this kind of escalation of this earlier Russian war, then Middle East, this thing, and then Red Sea. All these things can, all the time, there could be this kind of risk. But what's important is that for us to understand those risks and get ready and prepare. I think important one is to create buffers. That's why we ended up this situation when we were faced with those kind of external domestic shocks. We ran out of, used up all the buffers we had. So we were at the bottom of this thing. And when you don't have a buffer, there's a difference between Sri Lanka and other countries during the crisis period. Countries, for example, a lot of people talk about COVID was the issue. The tax cut was the issue, but ultimately we could have done all of these things if we had sufficient buffers in terms of foreign reserves, in terms of fiscal space, in terms of monetary space. Once we use all the buffers, we just have no choices. So that's the important one going forward, is to build up the buffers so that any external shock can come and go. But we are ready to use up even financial sector. That's why we are asking banks to build up their buffers in terms of the capital buffers, all these things, so that you can utilize in terms of a crisis, in terms of shock.
So you were talking about supporting SME sector. Just want to know what are the quick support you are going to give us in 2024?
First of all, I must say both are not central bank responsibilities. So what we can support SME sector is financial inclusion, improve financial literacy and awareness of the people so that they make right investment and consumption decisions and right credit appraisal and right way of entrepreneurship so that they can do business. That's through our regulated entities, those are banks. That's why we are pushing the banks to give, that's one of the things that we have said, recovery units of affected SMEs, that give them relief as much as possible, especially when interest rates are coming down. People who can meet their obligations, the feasibility of recovering all these things, banks should be supporting that.